Hello everybody, Root Beer here with another straight edge and compass construction, and I thought about it for a while and I think I'm going to do the construction of the regular 17-gon. So if memory serves, that's a heptadecagon. Very interesting. This was originally constructed, I believe, by one of my favorite mathematicians, Carl Friedrich Gauss, and I can't remember. I want to say he had it on his tombstone, but I think that's incorrect. I think I'm mixing that with a story from Archimedes and his proof of spheres and cones and cylinders and having the same volume. But I do believe Gauss said something to the effect of this was his favorite achievement. He did it when he was late teens, early 20s, something like that. It's a nifty construction. It's a little more involved than say the pentagon, and like my pentagon construction, if you watched that video, we're going to start with a length, and this is going to represent sort of a unit distance rather than the actual side length. So as opposed to, say, my square video or hexagon video, where the AB we started with was, I'll move them over here, more in line with the pentagon video. But those videos, we started with a length, and that became the side length of our figure. In this and the pentagon video, this is sort of going to be, we're going to create a unit circle, and inside that, inscribe our regular convex 17-gon. Okay. So, our circle, we're going to center it at A, go to point B. I'm actually going to move out just a little bit, just because I want a bit more space. And get a diameter going here. So this is, I think, certainly the last of the regular something-gon constructions I'm going to do, just because the rest can all sort of be done by combining the other techniques, almost. So we need a perpendicular radius. But what I mean is I've shown you in the past how to get a 2n-gon from an n-gon, the 3-gon, the 5-gon, the 17-gon. These are the basic ones. There's the 257-gon, and I want to say something 65,000, something to that effect, gon. And those are the only odd-sided ones we can know, and from those you get all the other ones. You can get a regular 15-gon as well, by carefully constructing a pentagon and an equilateral triangle in the same circle and that sort of thing, but that's really just combining previous techniques. So, oops, don't need that one. Okay, so what do we need to do? I'm getting sidetracked because I'm talking too much. We want to get this 17-gon done in a reasonable amount of time. So we need a perpendicular radius, and we're going to chop him in half twice. Okay, and smaller stuff. There we go, and so we have chopped this radius. Now we've got a quarter of the radius here. Now there's a lot going on, and there's a lot more to do, so I'm going to take a little time to hide some stuff. Oh, probably didn't need to hide that one. Now, if memory serves, I don't need this halfway point, but I do need this quarter point. And what we're going to do is we're going to connect these two up. Actually, if I move my B down here, maybe, you can sort of see it's a little like what we did with the pentagon, in that, what did we do with the pentagon? Well, we got a perpendicular radius. We sliced one of the radii in half and connected up and made a right angle triangle. And then we used that to help us make the pentagon. What are we going to do for this one? Well, we've got a radius. We didn't cut it in half. We cut it into a quarter. And then what we're going to do with this right angle triangle, with the pentagon, we bisected it. We're not going to bisect it in this video. We're going to sort of double bisect it, so quarter sect it almost. I think that has a better name, but that's sort of the idea. So chop the radius into quarters, and then chop the angle into quarters. Okay, so let's get to that, but just wanted to illustrate a bit of our plan. I'm going to zoom in a bit. So how do we chop things into quarters? How do we bisect an angle? Some points here. Alright, so we have cut this angle now in half. So we got to cut this angle in half again. Unfortunately, some of the circles are already in place for us. You really have to zoom in so the point goes in the right circle. Alright, so now we have cut this angle into quarters. Okie dokie. So we do need this part marked. And now I'm going to clean up a little bit. So we don't need these circles here. Oh, I think I do actually need this point still. Just a little bit. But certainly these circles that have helped me bisect things can go. Alright, we don't have anything else sitting around there. I'm going to bring my bead back up here just because I'm more used to doing the construction like this. Okay. So, what do we want to do next? Well, we're going to, what is it? We create a 45-degree angle. So we find some point over here on AB so that we get a 45-degree angle. I'm debating whether or not to name some of these points here. But no, we just sort of need to create a 45-degree angle here. And that'll get us a point there, and then we basically just have some semicircles left to construct, and eventually what will happen is we'll get some points down here, and we'll split their difference, and that'll finally get us the angle that we need, because ultimately what we're constructing is an angle of 2 pi by 17. We need to find some way to do that. Okay. So, let's get ourselves a 45-degree angle. How do we do that? Well, we get ourselves a right angle off of this this line here, and then we bisect that. Okay. Oh, no, I don't just need any old right angle. I need my right angle in a very particular place. So I goofed a little bit there. I need my right angle centered at this dot here. We're bringing our straight edge. So great, now we have a right angle. We need to bisect it. So I've already got that circle created. Get this one right here. And now we just need to get our circles there and how's that? It runs right through and it bisects our right angle. So we have the angle of 45 degrees that we so desire. So what do we need from all this? Well, we really just need this point down here. So I'm going to take a little time to clean up our circles. As I've said in the past, I was a little hesitant to do this one. I mentioned, I think, in my Pentagon video, I wasn't sure I was going to do this, just because this is certainly a more involved construction than one might expect. Yeah, I agree. The Pentagon one was a little out there, but it was over fairly quickly. Whereas we're still going here. Okay. So what's the next thing we need to do? We need to get a semicircle here, and then we get another semicircle after a little while. So we need a semicircle between this point, this extreme point on the circumference of the big circle, the circle with AB as the diameter, and this brand new point that we've constructed. How do we get that? Well, let's find the center of that circle. So we get that going on. Alright, so we have the midpoint of that line, and so that would serve as a nice center. And now get out our compass, and well, that's not right. What happened? Oh, I chose the wrong intersection of circles. Yeah. Okay. So we're back to where I was, because I should have been able to draw a circle from that center to this point and intersecting this point. That went wrong. Okay, so this one actually becomes bigger than the original starting circle. That's where I goofed. Zoom in, make sure that didn't go on the line, because sometimes GeoGebra is a bit touchy. Okay. So now this should be the proper midpoint. And we'll check it by drawing a circle. Hurrah! Okay. So, take this circle. We really just needed the semicircle, although you at home with your compass could do the semicircle. Really, you just need the intersection point here. But I'm stuck drawing whole circles, because that's the way the circle tool works here. Okay, so we need, intersecting the vertical radius, we need this point here. Okay. So we can do a little bit more cleanup, because we're going to draw some more circles in a second. I think I'm done with this. No, I think I still need that center point. I can clean some of this up. Okay, so our brand new point was there. I'll get rid of our other point, because I don't think we need him anymore. Okay, and then what was it that I need to do? So with this new point, we need to create another circle, another semicircle, and we need to get another point on this diameter. I'm just trying to remember what that point is. Okay, I think we use this point as a center. Yeah. That's why we didn't erase him yet. Now those guys look very close, but they're not. Okay, and we use, so that guy is a center. Radius is that point. So the point we get after sort of quartering the angle, that point, the one that we then use to make the 45-degree angle, we use that point to our brand new point as the radius. And then this semicircle gets us not one, but 2 points. I'm going to have to zoom in to make sure the point doesn't duplicate. As a matter of fact, let's get rid of this guy. Well, not get rid of, but hide him. And I think we don't need this one anymore. Actually, I think once we have these points here, that's basically game over, and then we are going to construct perpendicular lines from these 2 points. And as I said before, they're going to go towards the bottom. Oh, silly me. Done a bit too much again. I want perpendicular line through this point, not perpendicular between those two. Okay. It's a long construction, and I don't do it very often, so I tend to forget in places and get a little confused. I sort of try and remember it as it's the golden rectangle thing, but you do it twice, so you quarter the radius, quarter the angle, then you get the 45 degrees, and then it's a couple circles till you get these 2 points, and you extend them down. That's how I try and remember it. You might remember it a different way. You might not even care to remember it. There we go. We get some big circles here. Alright, now these intersect at 2 points on the circumference. But we're not done yet. But this will be our last cleanup before the final cleanup to make the picture sort of nice and neat and pretty. And there's sort of two ways you can go from here once you have these. This gives us an angle of 4 pi over 17, and you may recall I want 2 pi over 17 radians. So we have the choice of either sort of duplicating the technique we use when we go from a regular convex n-gon to a regular convex 2 n-gon, and that is split these two. Or another thing you can do is you can just sort of, because these sort of represent 2 and you need to go around 17 times, if you just keep following it around with circles, you'll be going around, you'll go 17 times till you get back to your original circle, and you'll be filling in the gaps as you go. So I'm actually going to get rid of the diameter as well, just so I don't get confused. So we're creating our brand new points as we go, but we're going to go around this circle twice to fill in all the gaps. Because if we cut this in half, we'd still have to go around with these circles to get all the points, so why not do it now is my thinking. So that right there in between those, that would be a segment. We're going to keep going. We're going to land right in the middle of the two we started with. And at this point, there's a lot of circles, so I wouldn't blame you if you were doing some erasing work. We've got to go around the big circle once more. You got to keep an eye on what things are adjacent to what, and where do I need to draw my circles. It'll be the same circle, so if you're doing this with a real physical compass, you won't have to be adjusting the radius every single time, because it'll be the same radius. Now we're coming around, we're almost done. And that is it. So let's get rid of all these circles. I do mean all of these circles. There's quite a lot of them, including the big one we started with. Although if you wanted to make a 34 gon, got to keep the circle because you need the circumcircle to do that. But we're not going to. I just want the regular 17 gon. And what color shall we make the regular 17 gon? Something that pops, something that stands out. Bright red. Probably should have shown that this really is a regular 17 gon by drawing that last circle connecting back to the original starting points, but I forgot that, and I'm not going to Control Z this all now. We're so close. But there it is, and I can just, it's all just based off A and B. But I do admit, if you were kind of low resolution, this is getting close to looking like a circle. Which is why I wouldn't even think to do the 257 gon, because one, it's going to take even longer, and two, I've never attempted it, and three, it's likely going to look even more like a circle, so what's the point? I could just draw sort of a circle, put a bunch of dots on it, and say I was done. But this one, you can probably see, and you can do it at home in a reasonable, although long time. You can get yourself your own regular 17 gon. So there it is. I think that looks pretty fancy, but that's as big as a polygon construction I'm going to do in any of these videos, just because the next one is unrealistic. But you could do things like, I think I mentioned earlier, a 3 gon and a 5 gon in the same circle. You can then pick out a regular 15 gon. You can do the same sort of thing, inscribe a triangle somewhere in here, and you can work your way to a regular 51 gon, that sort of thing. It's an interesting technique, but it's nothing that I'm going to dwell on here, because we've got our 17 gon, we're feeling good. So feel free to try that at home, and have yourself a wonderful day.